Hi everybody, welcome once again to a low on health year end. You know what? Have you actually been watching these videos? I know I haven't been doing a lot of them, but I recently kind of banged out a big batch of them because I wanted to get up from the backlog of old low on health articles. In which case, if you've actually been watching these, thank you very much. I'm very almost at the end of recording all these. I've been doing these at different times and just trying to get them out of the way. And wow, it's been a lot of stuff kind of go over the past, and it's been a nice little retrospective. In which case, this particular video is going to be the 2008 Games of the Year. The games I played in 2008, and then, of course, the top 10 for my 2008. So, thank you for watching if you've been watching a bunch of these, and let's just go ahead and get the ball rolling on this. In 2008, these are the games in my top 10. Yakuza 2. It was my #1 game of the year, which is funny because it was a PS2 game. An interesting thing to know about my top 3 games of 2008, they're all PlayStation games. PlayStation 2, PSP, and PlayStation 3, which is really interesting and doesn't happen that often, and probably won't happen for a very long time. In 2008, there was a big kind of thing of me just kind of griping about the games not being that great, in which case that's why Yakuza 2 kind of rose to the top. Granted, the graphics weren't the best, but it was a nice, refined, solidified system from the first Yakuza, and I really just enjoyed it. The next game, of course, is going to be Metal Gear Solid 4, which was just a nice, great game to play. A nice kind of throwbacks to a bunch of the old Metal Gear games. It really kind of wrapped up the series really well, and I was very much pleased with it. I will say, though, I still kind of like Snake Eater better, just because I like the old Snake, and just like the vibe of the 1960s and 70s kind of Metal Gear. Then Crisis Core, which of course is one of the rare PSP games ever to make it on one of my top 10 lists, in which case this has the second saddest scene in any video game I've ever played. Of course, the first one naturally being Aeris' death in Final Fantasy VII. But we all kind of knew what had happened to Zack at the end of the game. But they built it up so well and just did a really good job making you want to connect with this guy and feel so sad for him at the very end. It is a very tearful ending, and not just like, ooh, boo-hoo. It's just, wow. It's just one of those endings that's hard to watch over and over again because you're kind of playing it as it's going on, and it's just, I really enjoyed Crisis Core. It just, the battle system wasn't 100% great. It's a game I will get back to, but man, the ending was just great. Then, of course, you have Rock Band 2, which we all know my Rock Band affinity, and Saints Row 2, which, of course, I've gone on record saying I enjoy the Saints Row series more than Grand Theft Auto, the new series. In which case, Saints Row 2 was just great. They added co-op, and it just had the classic humor and kind of open up sandboxing is to it. Then you have Darkness, which was a nice, pleasant surprise to play. Definitely kind of just like the overall atmosphere of Darkness. And then Tales of Vesperia, which is the very rare JRPG on the Xbox 360, probably one of the only few. I can think of Chain of Arms, Lost Odyssey, and those types of games, but I enjoyed Tales of Vesperia very much. It had just a very nice aesthetic. I liked the graphics. It was very colorful, and the combat system and characters were good too. Then you have, of course, Fallout 3, which we all know. I like the open-endedness of the Fallout games, and then Castle Crashers, which was a nice, just one of those fun games to play over and over again with a bunch of people online. They did a really good job of just making it accessible and fun, old school arcade type of game. And then you got Braid, which of course I just love the gameplay in Braid, and then of course the story, and once again the atmosphere and the visuals, and the music is just nice and somber and draws you in. It's just a very solid game, and it was just the main thing in 2008. A lot of the big tier games didn't really wow me. It was the smaller games that just kind of really impressed me. So let's just go down real quick and see all the different kind of games I played in 2008. Of course, then we kind of have the breakdown. Of course, Call of Duty 4. World of Warcraft I kind of reviewed, but that's kind of a special thing. Devil May Cry 4, I enjoyed it. I actually have it on the PC. I play every now and then when I want a nice, slick, fast-paced action game. Persona 3 is there. Bully, which I played on the PlayStation 2, I also played on the 360, in which case that game actually, I want to say, red ringed my first 360. In which case, my 360 lasted, I think, about 2.5 years before it actually died. But it died while I was playing Bully. But I enjoyed Bully immensely. I really think Rockstar should go back to that kind of a smaller, focused Grand Theft Auto type game. I mean, of course, when you have a main character named Jimmy, I can identify with him. But, I mean, really, just take him into college. This was like a prep school thing. Just take him to college and expand a little bit, but just don't make it huge and big like a Liberty City Grand Theft Auto. We got Saints Row. Ratchet & Clank had great visuals. Mass Effect, once again. Uncharted, the first one. Super Smash Bros. For the Wii. Project Sylpheed is actually a game I've gone back to, and actually will kind of, because there's not that many space flighty games out there, I've gone back to. Then, of course, Naruto Broken Bonds. The Naruto games on the 360 have been pretty good, like the actual story ones. Super Mario Galaxy, which, of course, I mentioned I'm not a big fan of Super Mario Galaxy or Grand Theft Auto 4, or Fable 2. Fable 2 got a lot of nods in 2008, which I think was very unwarranted. Dead Space, Ace Combat, which of course people know I'm a fight slim one. I enjoyed Ace Combat immensely. Heavenly Sword, I was meant on. God of War, this is when I was definitely getting burned up from the God of War games. Heavenly Sword's on there twice, that's a typo. The Naruto game again, the first Assassin's Creed. No More Heroes was probably one of the only Wii games I've actually ever enjoyed. In which case they've now released it, I think, for a PlayStation 3 or PS3, and I'll probably eventually get back into it. Gears of War 2, which made me really kind of, whatever. Second Wiki, Command & Conquer. Lost Odyssey was a nice, like I said, mentioned before, a good JRPG. I really enjoyed Lost Odyssey. Kingdom Hearts Chains of Memories for the PlayStation 2 was basically the GBA game, which I've played that like 2 or 3 times now. Birth of the Federation, which of course is the classic PC, Star Trek game. The Wii Sports stuff, Prince of Persia. That I didn't really enjoy the Prince of Persia for the 360. Far Cry 2 is one of those games I've gone back to. Every now and then I'll re-rent it and just kind of play through it. I haven't beat it, but I just love exploring the jungle, and it's kind of open-ended to a point, but it just has a really vast environment. Endless Ocean is a nice, fun, just kind of swimming scuba diving game for the Wii. I really wish they had like an HD kind of scuba diving game, but it was just nice and relaxing. Operation Darkness, and a bunch of kind of meh games, RPGs, of course Dynasty Warriors, Guitar Hero. By the time I got to 3, I was done with Guitar Hero. Mercenaries 2 was not that great, but it's moderately fun co-op. Burnout Paradise, I didn't really enjoy Paradise. I don't like the openness of it. I like having single tracks and lanes and whatnot. I don't like the kind of going this way or that way, because then you just kind of, you don't know if you're supposed to turn here, which way is the best way, and it just didn't become fun. Force Unleashed I didn't enjoy. Spore was okay. I'm trying to think. A lot of just kind of games I gave up and passed on, like Viking, Spectral Force, Zoids, Kingdom Hearts 5. That's a good chunk of games. I was like, Turok, Armored Core. I'm not big into fast flighty mechs unless it's Zone of Enders. Last Remnant. Oh, what? See, this is what I mean. I'm just looking at it now. I'm like remembering a lot of subpar games. Of course, there's the 2 Worlds that I mentioned. I enjoyed immensely, despite it being broken. Fracture was meh. And then, of course, probably the worst game of the year is going to be Too Human, which ironically is one of the games out of that batch that I bought because it was like $7 cheap, and wanted to kind of play with a bunch of people online, but nobody else has really kind of picked it up. But that's really kind of it. 2008 was just kind of disappointing on a whole, and now looking back and see, I'm starting to remember why I was just not that pleasantly surprised with 2008, and it was because of that. I'm more of a narrative guy when it comes to gaming, and that's why in 2009 I was more or less inclined to actually read books and whatnot. But that is my breakdown for 2008. As always, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you next time.